What's going on, Packers fans? I'm your host, Joey Petersen, giving you the latest news and rumors on your favorite team. And today we're talking about an article that was released this morning that has revealed Green Bay's plan in the first round of the NFL draft. And I'll give you a little bit of a hint, okay? This is coming from Ohio State's Pro Day. A lot of NFL scouts there, a lot of beat reporters there, a lot of talking, and we got some great information to share with you guys. Before that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, okay? We are tied with Bears now in our NFC North sub-battle. Tied up at 594. This thing's almost over. March isn't going much longer. Vikings now is making a climb up to second place. Help me out. Do me a solid. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so we can prove we're the best dang team in the NFC North right here at Chat Sports. So this is coming from an article that was called Insider Notes from Ohio State's Pro Day. And apparently Green Bay will look hard at wide receiver in round one. Here's the quote coming from Tony Pauline saying the Green Bay Packers and Los Angeles Chargers were two teams spoken about in Columbus who will look at receivers hard in the first round. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think this is incredible news. I think it's such incredible news that I rushed when typing out this graphic and I misspelled the word incredible. But I think this is incredibly needed for this team, for this roster, for this offense. I get it. This thing's run through Josh Jacobs. I know that. Okay, we saw that. It was obvious that running the football was the identity of this team. That's why I got over 300 carries in 2024. But I just think that Jordan Love needs more options. And I think you think the same, okay? If you look at the wide receiver depth chart, again, if I've said it once, I've said it a million times, I like a lot of these guys. I like a ton of what this team has to offer in the wide receiver room. However, you still don't have a guy who's a wide receiver one on this roster. Christian Watson could be, he just can't stay healthy. And that's going to be the same this year because he's not going to play until November because of the torn ACL in January. Could play sooner, could play later. It's a toss-up right now. But when you look at that room, you'd be lying if you said to yourself and if you said to me that, yeah, I would trust any of those guys to win us the game if we had to go one drive getting the ball every single time. They're great for wide receiver twos, wide receiver threes. Fantastic. You got a full roster of wide receiver twos. But if you have a ton of those, you don't have a wide receiver one. Okay? What say you? Do you think the Packers should draft a wide receiver in round one? Give me a yes or a no. And if that answer is a no, let me know what position you want them to take down below. So I think round one is the play. I really do. Because outside of that, I'm not super confident in any other wide receiver in this draft to be able to be a wide receiver one in year one. I think at edge, you can find a really solid edge rusher in round three. I think at corner, you can find a really solid corner in round two. And sure, there's some great wide receivers you could still find in rounds 2, 3, or 4, but no guys that I'd feel confident in coming in here and being the alpha dog in this wide receiver room. Now, I will say, this is all coming from the Ohio State Pro Day. So I hope they're not super high on Emeka Egbuka. I think Emeka Egbuka is going to be a good wide receiver in the NFL, but adding Emeka Egbuka into this wide receiver room, I don't think it solves the problem of looking for a wide receiver one. I think it just deepens the problem of, you know what, you might just have a roster filled with wide receiver twos. Emeka Egbuka spent his entire career at Ohio State being the second guy that any quarterback at that university would go to, okay? He's put up a lot of really good seasons, 2 seasons with over 1,000 yards. And I get it. He played with a lot of really talented receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith and Jigba. But that doesn't change the fact that in 3 years as a Buckeye, he was never the number one guy on his team. And this team needs a wide receiver one. Egbuka isn't that. He's never been that. He showed you that every year of college. I get it. Jeremiah Smith is a stud, but a freshman wide receiver was a wide receiver one over Egbuka. And it speaks a lot to how good Jeremiah Smith was, but I also think it speaks a good bit to the fact that Emeka Egbuka might just be pigeonholed to be a wide receiver two for his career. And that's great, but not for a first round guy. okay? So coming up, I'm going to give you 3 round 1 wide receiver targets that I've got my eye out, that I'm looking at, that I would love if come late Thursday night, the Packers drafted one of them. Before that, we're still on our road to 2.5 thousand subscribers. We are oh so close, the closest we've ever been. We only need 46 subscribers to get there. So if you have not already, hit that sub button, join us. It's free for you to do. Helps us out a ton. I'm trying to get to 2.5 thousand by the end of the day. It's in your hands. Go ahead, hit that sub button. Number 1. A guy we talked about a lot this week, and a guy I'm going to continue to talk about a lot over the next 4 weeks until the NFL draft, and that's Tetairoa McMillan. And we got an article from ESPN Plus earlier this week, and they stated that Arizona wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan held a private workout for scouts on Monday afternoon, and that Brian Gutekunst of the Packers was the only NFL general manager in attendance. The only one. So what that tells me is Brian Gutekunst and the Packers are interested. You sit your general manager out there, and he was the only one there. That tells me something. And what I love about McMillan is I believe he's a guy who could slide right into that Christian Watson role. He's 6'4", 219 pounds. He ran a 4.48 hand-timed 40. Hell, even if you added 0.07 seconds onto that, I'm still very impressed. I think that McMillan, at the end of the day, when we look back 5 years from now, he's going to be the best wide receiver in this class. I think he's got an incredibly high ceiling. He's a great route runner. He's a plus run after catch guy as well. I would love to see him in this offense. I would love to see him catching passes from Jordan Love. And it's a possibility that he gets to you at 23. Now, I know mock drafts aren't the end-all be-all. Just because someone's getting mocked by a Mel Kiper mock draft in this spot doesn't mean that they're going to land there. However, there's been multiple mock drafts with Tetairoa McMillan falling anywhere from 19 to 25. Guess who's sitting in that range? The Green Bay Packers. Let's talk about another guy, Matthew Golden at the University of Texas. And this is a guy who has climbed up a ton of draft boards over the last couple of months. Now, why? I hear you ask. Let me answer simply. He ran a 4.29 40 at the combine. He was sub 4.3. Anytime sub 1 runs a sub 4.3, they are going to get looked at, especially when you pair it with the stats and the numbers he was able to put up at Texas. Let's give a little bit of a scouting report on him, okay? He's got a lot of pros, got a couple cons as well. He's an excellent route runner. He can run any route in the route tree. He has a very, very expanded one. Everything he does is incredibly crisp. What I also love about him is he plucks the ball out of the air, right? He doesn't wait for it to come to him. He doesn't catch anything with his body. He goes up and gets it wherever it is. And also, of course, you got to mention, he's got that blazing speed. Couple of cons, though. He's an average size guy, about 5'11", doesn't stand out, not incredibly heavy either. And because of that, it kind of makes him not a plus blocker, which I know this team's going to look at because of how often they run the football. Let's round this one out with our last guy. That is Mr. Luther Burden III, wide receiver out of Mizzou, University of Missouri. And he's a guy similar to Tet, who's been falling down draft boards over the last couple of weeks. Now, why Burden falling is different. Scouts are concerned that 32% of his catches came from behind the line of scrimmage this past year. But I look at that stat, and my thought is, I don't think that's Burden's fault. I think that's the fault of how that offense was ran at Missouri and the quarterback play of Brady Cook. Brady Cook took a massive step back in 2024. Brady Cook was also dealing with injuries in 2024. So the reason that Burden wasn't the true X receiver that he truly is, and because he caught 32% of his catches from behind the line of scrimmage, is they knew he's the best athlete we got on this team. Let's just make sure he has the ball in his hand. Quickest, safest way to do that is just get him in on a screen behind the line of scrimmage. So that's why, okay? And I still believe he could be a true X receiver. He's got the size for it. He's got the catch radius, the frame, The hands, the speed, the route running ability. He is a true, complete package. Now, there is another reason why he's falling. And that's a little bit because of an attitude concern. Todd McShay had this to say. He said there's a lot of diva. And the biggest thing, what I talk to when I talk to NFL teams, he's just flat out quit in that Alabama game. I'm sure I'll have people calling and SIDs and everything else, but go watch it for yourself. So I'll end by saying this. He's my third favorite option for a reason. I'd rather have Tetairoa McMillan. I'd rather have Matthew Golden. But if those two guys are gone, you're sitting there at 23. Luther Burden's still there. I'm not upset about it. I think the diva character issue in him was a lot because of how frustrated he was with his, status there at Mizzou. With that team there at Mizzou. I think a lot of us would be pretty frustrated as well. So here are the 3 round 1 targets. Tetairoa McMillan, Matthew Golden, Luther Burden. Pick one of those 3 for the Green Bay Packers draft and let me know your answer in the comment section down below by giving me a TM, an MG, or an LB. As always, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We'll bring you daily content. Everything from the NFL draft, off-season trade rumors, free agency signings, anything you can need, you got right here. So hit that sub button.